Hello and welcome everybody. We are three editors-in-chief from PLD Lamplighter, and I am Logan Justice, and I'll now pass it to my friends and students at Dunbar, Ella, and Victoria.
Hi everyone, my name is Victoria. I am a rising senior at Dunbar, and I am here with my fellow editor-in-chiefs of PLD Lamplighter, our school newspaper.
Hi, I'm Ella, and I'm also a rising senior, and we are very excited to be able to meet with you today.
I am so excited as well. I'm Angela Dominguez. I am a candidate for the superintendent position in Fayette County Public Schools.
Thank you. So today we're just going to ask a few questions. And so our first question is, after this past year, education leaders and stakeholders are essentially sitting on an opportunity to redefine what public education looks like. What is one abstract or outside of the box idea you have for Fayette County?
Well, that's a great question, Logan. Thank you. This year has certainly been a year of learning for all of us. We have had to pivot and grow exponentially. And I say that on behalf of students, parents, teachers, staff. Everybody has mobilized in ways that we've never seen before. I agree with you. I think that the pandemic has led to some great opportunities in terms of us seeing education in a totally different way. I think for far too long, we were trying to educate our students in the way that we grew up in public schools. And now we've been forced to up our game with technology. I know our teachers have gone through extensive training, ways to engage students that are more relevant to our kids at this point and more exciting and hands-on. So I see education really changing in terms of teacher collaboration, what we offer to students in terms of creativity and product instead of everything being paper pencil, and then access to equity. I think what's been one of the great things that we've seen happen as a result of this pandemic is access to hands-on technology, internet resources in families and households that it wouldn't have been accessible before. So one thing that I would want to bring to Fayette County Public Schools is something that we did here in Edgewood as we mobilized, and that was really having teachers plan across schools. Our teachers need each other more than ever in this process so that we can be more innovative and provide our kids with exposure to real life experiences utilizing the technology that now we have in everybody's hands. So our teachers collectively worked in pods and started communicating across school lines. So instead of my one physics teacher or two physics teachers that might have been at Henry Clay, they're now able to reach out to the teachers at Takes Creek. And the lessons and the quality of instruction that they're able to provide students is accelerated exponentially. So I would love to see that we are working collectively to plan together so that lessons take on a new form for our students and that we utilize all of the skill sets that we've learned in the pandemic to engage and ignite learning for our kids moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
So moving on to our second question, our previous superintendent was very relatable and physically present in our schools. Because of this, many of us felt like we knew him, and many students even called him by his first name, Manny. In a time when mental health and relationships are so incredibly important, what can students expect from you, and how will you carry on his legacy?
So I've done a lot of research, and you guys were blessed to have such a wonderful leader in your midst. So I want to start with that. He did some amazing things in Fayette County Public Schools, and that's part of the reason that I'm interested in coming to be a part of your family and a part of this team. In preparation and thinking about moving to Lexington, because that would be a big stretch for me, I wanted to get to know who the students are already. And so I've already been reading, listening, learning. And what I can tell you is that the students of Lexington can expect to see that I am extremely visible, very relatable. And I have already, even though they don't know it, started connecting with some of their stories. And so I want to kind of link back to a couple of kids that have stood out to me as I've read the news or read what you guys have posted. And I'm inspired by the students in Fayette County Public Schools. And I want to start with Faith Morales. I read her story about recovering from COVID, having such a challenging year as a senior. And I think about what my own kids went through, what all of our kids here went through, and what a challenge that was for her and her family. And I can't wait to meet her. I can't wait to tell her I'm so proud of her for coming through this challenge and doing great things. But I'm also excited to get to know kids from our other high schools that talk about what happened as a result of the pandemic and what they learned and grew in. And so I'm really excited. I will tell you that I want to get to know the students. The more I read, the more I listen, and the more I learn. These are my kind of students. These students remind me of myself growing up and my own children. And I'm just thrilled to be a part of the team and come on board and really get to know all of our kids.
Sorry about that. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll be passing it off to Ella with the next question.
All right, so for our third question, if you had to describe yourself to someone who doesn't know you, aside from your accomplishments and career in education, what would you say?
Thank you, Ella. So I would say that I am definitely a mom first. I have 3 amazing children that are all in college right now. And anybody that knows me knows that they are definitely my pride. I have worked very hard to raise them, although it doesn't ever finish. I also absolutely love fishing. So my passion outside of working in schools is to be on the water, relaxing and enjoying some peace. And then I will say that maybe what people don't know about me quite yet, if they haven't gotten to know me, is that this pandemic has completely changed me. And as I hear the stories that our students share, Keeson Jones said something in his publication about how the pandemic affected him, that it robbed him. And I will say that all of us are coming through that. I lost my dad, I lost my grandmother, and it has been a year of learning and growing. And what I've connected with is that Avril Dilalana said, you cannot take anything for granted. So I am pursuing this option because my dream is to lead a school district. My dream is to provide equity for all kids, no matter what their economic background. I grew up very poor, had to struggle through school. And I think every kid deserves that opportunity. And when kids become educated and come back to their families, it doesn't just change them, it changes their family, it changes their whole life. And so I'm really excited about the opportunity to learn and grow more in this next week with you, but I feel like this could be a great fit for me.
Thank you. Sorry, my mic wasn't working.
Typical Zoom, right?
Yeah, we're also, I think, kind of getting used to it. But one other question, Kentucky in general is facing a teacher shortage. So how will you work to recruit and retain excellent teachers here in Fayette County?
Logan, that's a great question, and actually something we're dealing with here in San Antonio as well. One of the things that we've done in the last year, and I've been an integral part of, is a Grow Your Own program. So I really believe that the best teachers in a community are the teachers that have come up through those schools, that know the community, that know the students, that have experienced the same experiences that they have. So we have been working very closely with our university partners to create a program where our students go through an education and training program that starts in middle school with principles of education and extends to the high school. They'll graduate in the next few years with their associates in education already completed for free with the local university and be ready and able to start teaching in our schools within 2 years after graduation. So that's something I see is very necessary in the public school system, is we've got to start building our own educator pathway. It helps us to build diversity. It also helps us to create a workforce that's dedicated and committed to that community. The other group of individuals we've been working with is our paraprofessionals. They're right on the cusp, and many of them, they want to be teachers. They're already educating our students. And so we've built that pipeline out with our local community colleges to help them finish their college hours and move from paraprofessional to teacher in the classroom. So those are a couple of ways that I really see that we can help build out that pipeline and create a great teacher workforce to serve our kids and our community.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, so for another question, since we do have a little bit more time, Lexington is a very diverse community with over 90 world languages spoken in our schools. With that, communication can be hard and has often been a struggle in the past. What are your plans for equitable communication and outreach?
Ella, thank you for that question. I have noticed how many languages things get published in within the district, and I I will say that I am bilingual. I speak English and Spanish. I firmly believe that we need to reach all parents and all students in the community. So I think it'll be integral for us to make sure that things are getting translated, that when we have meetings, we have people available to help support families so that they have access and understanding. It's a really difficult situation to put a student in the middle. And so I will say a lot of times what happens is our kids are stuck translating for their parents, and that's not their job. And sometimes things get a little lost in translation when a student's translating for their parents. So I want to make sure that we've got people available, whether that's a community resource or working with our local universities, so that materials are translated, that families do understand and have clarity about what's happening within the district, and that their voice is heard. And I think that many of our parents that speak a second language don't come to sessions because they're worried they won't be able to communicate, or they're worried that they won't be heard. And so I really feel like that is so important. I have done a lot of work with that in our community here in Edgewood ISD. While we don't have as many languages as Lexington, I feel like it's very possible to bridge that gap, and will do my very best to make sure that that happens.
Thank you.
All right, wonderful. I think that's all the questions we have for you today. Logan, Ella, anything else you'd like to add?
It was a great pleasure to meet you and speak with you. Thank you.
Well, I am so excited, and you guys do amazing, amazing work. I will say I had a chance to look at your website, and I'm super impressed with what you're doing at Dunbar, and can't wait to meet your whole team. Read some of the great articles and blogs that are posted, so really appreciate what you've accomplished and your commitment to communicating with your campus. That has been essential during this time in particular.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions for us? Any comments? Anything else you'd like to add on?
So I would love to ask you a couple questions since we have a couple of minutes. I talk really fast, so I'm sorry, I'm nervous. But tell me, going into senior year, I know, Victoria, you mentioned you were a rising senior. What are your expectations of what next year should look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think the last year and a half has taught us that we can't have any expectations. Kind of have to take what we're given and appreciate it, and just not take anything for granted. So going into my senior year, I'm a little bit at a loss of words. I'm excited. I'm excited, and I don't really know what to expect, but I'll take anything that comes my way. Whether it's virtual, in person, masks, no masks, I'm more than happy just to have a senior year. So I think that's most important to me. Just kind of not taking it for granted. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
I think we're all excited to get a little more back to normal. Definitely. So Ella and Logan, what year are you guys in? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that at the very beginning.
Oh, no, you're good. We're both rising seniors.
Oh, so all three of you are moving into senior year.
Right.
Yeah.
What are your expectations?
I really agree with Victoria. You know, we can't really have any expectations. We've definitely learned that this year has been a challenge for most people. And so for me personally, I just want to make sure that I do the best that I can, and really just finish out my high school career strong. So.
Well, that's a great aspiration. Logan, how about you?
Kind of agree with both of them. I think more than anything, kind of building back better than where we were when we kind of left. Going into, trying to have, the big senior year events, but still, taking every advantage of we have being together and stuff.
Well, I want to thank you guys. I have had a great time visiting with you. I can't wait to visit with everybody when I get a chance to come out to Lexington next week, and hope that I have a chance to follow up with subsequent meetings as you guys go into senior year. So thank you so much this morning for visiting with me and asking some amazing questions.
Thank you so much for making the time for us to ask you questions and just sitting down with us. We appreciate it. And we're excited to see where all of this goes.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, when they said I was talking to kids first, that was just all telling to me that this is where I want to be, because students definitely are first. So this was a great way to start this process. Thank you guys.